know from previous stories that I met the love of my life in 1967 during the Summer of Love, Pierre. And we, instead of going back to college, we hitchhiked to San Francisco, to the Mecca of Haight-Ashbury. So life went on, and pretty soon it was after Christmas, and we're walking home to our apartment from Golden Gate Park, and this guy is shoving these tickets into our hands, not tickets, but flyers. And he says, "You don't want to miss this concert." He said it's produced and hosted by Bill Graham. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Pierre, guess what? I used to go to Billy Graham concerts and rallies for Youth for Christ when I was in high school. And now he's dropped out too. And he's putting on these rock shows. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. So anyway, we looked at the flyer, and it was $6 each, which was a lot of money for us back then. And we thought, well, it's New Year's Eve, let's go for it. So we arrived, I forgot to tell you, it also lasted from 9 p.m. December 31st, 1967, to 9 a.m. January 1st, 1968. And it included a free breakfast. Unbelievable. So it took place in a place called Winterland in San Francisco, which used to be a huge ice skating arena. And then it was converted into a rock arena. So we arrived about 9:15, and the line was like 4 blocks long. We finally got in, and we found out later that the fire code was 4,500 people. Bill Graham sold 8,000 tickets. Now, we were 19 years old. We didn't know anything about, well, there could have been a fire, you could have all burned up. We were just out there having a good time. Some of the people were stoned, some of the people were tripping. We were just there for the music. And what a night it was. So, the first act that came out was a local San Francisco band called Freedom Highway. They were pretty good. They lasted about an hour. And the second band was a little bit more well-known, and that was Quicksilver Messenger Service, and they were really good. And the third band was the one that we really wanted to see. They had just appeared in June on American Bandstand, and that was Jefferson Airplane. And you know, they're very famous for White Rabbit and all the different songs they did back then. And after they finished, by then it was midnight. And to my complete and utter surprise, this man enters this huge arena, and on a donkey, dressed like Jesus, and he rides around the entire inner perimeter of the arena. And we're like, who is this? And somebody said, that's Bill Graham. He's the producer and the host for tonight. So we're like, okay, we didn't know much about him. So he gets off of the donkey and he's telling us about peace. He says, don't you want to usher in peace in the new year? And he said, well, all you have to do is look up. And 8,000 people look up in this giant arena with a huge, tall ceiling. And there were hundreds of white doves. They could never have done this. They would never get away with this today, believe me. And I wouldn't want them to. But they were in these nets, and somehow the riggers undid the nets, and there's just hundreds of these beautiful symbols of peace flying around. So then Bill Graham introduces the next act. It's after midnight by now. And he says, now we will hear Big Brother. And I thought, Big Brother? That doesn't sound like a good name for a band. And the curtains part, and this woman dressed in furs and feathers, screaming, yelling, singing, channeling Bessie Smith, just wild, pumped up on a pint of Southern Comfort and any other drug she could get hold of, comes wailing out, and it was Janis Joplin.
Oh my God.
And I was like mesmerized. I had never seen anything like her before or since. And she just captivated me. Big Brother was fine, that was her, you know, the guys, other guys in the band, but she was just like this amazing being. So after that, the bands took turns playing again for the rest of the night. So finally, it's about dawn, and Bill Graham comes out again and he says, well, have you had a good time? And everybody's cheering and, you know, just enjoying themselves so much. And he says, I have to tell you, it's now 1968 and the party's over. Except, I did promise you all breakfast, didn't I? So, he says, follow me. And everybody comes out and lines up on the sidewalk, and he and his staff, served continental breakfast, coffee, juice, and a Danish or a donut to 8,000 people.
Wow.
And even though this was 52 years ago, the music of that night, those 12 hours, is still ringing in my ears. Thank you.
Nice.